I guess my thought process around helping people to rediscover, that's a key word, their true authentic selves is being able to tap into who they truly are, who they genuinely are at their core. And I use the word rediscover because I feel like when we are born into the world, we come in unblemished as our true authentic self. Of course, we have to develop, throughout growing and maturing, not just as a human being or individual, a physical body, but maturing through our thought processes, maturing through our feelings, our emotions. Like, obviously, there's this whole track of maturity that we have to go through. I think what happens along the way is that we encounter life experiences, we encounter people, through our adolescent years, trying to identify with different social groups and fit in. And that's where things begin to sometimes get cloudy because we sacrifice a part of who we truly are for the sake of connecting with other people. That sacrifice happens as a result of something that has happened in our life to make us feel that we aren't worthy, we aren't good enough, to be who we truly are, who we feel, we what we feel we are in our essence, in our core. So we sacrifice that for somebody else's love. So for example, if I grew up in a household to where my first love, which is my father, wasn't present, physically, emotionally, mentally, in either of those ways, and I didn't feel the love and the bond, that I needed to feel or have with my father, then as a child, it's difficult for me to differentiate between, what's my fault and what's not my fault, or what's my responsibility. I don't want to use the word fault, but what's my responsibility and what's not. So that translate as to some part of me being unlovable because my dad wasn't there to give me the love that I need. It translates to me as a child that I'm unlovable. So my search, my quest now becomes to find someone who will love me the way that I need to be loved. Now, that doesn't always start off as in relationships with the opposite sex, with a man, with a boyfriend, husband, so forth and so on. But it can start, in peer groups, like these young girls, in their adolescent years in school, trying to belong and fit in, be a part of, because a part of that unlovable message is rejection. Who I truly am. If my father rejected me and who I truly am, then who else will accept me for who I truly am? So that's when the facade begins. So now I begin to wear this mask so that I can fit in, and I become a chameleon. So when I'm with this group of friends, I act this way. When I'm with this group of friends, I act this way. When I'm at home with my family, I act this way. When I'm out in public, when I'm in the classroom, so forth and so on, I begin to adapt. Now, I wouldn't even say adapt to different situations because you're not really adapting. You're changing who you are so that you can receive love. That idea perpetuates itself all throughout adulthood. And before you know it, you're having dysfunctional relationships because you're still working to earn somebody's love and acceptance and approval. But it's not love and acceptance and approval of who you truly are at the core. It's for who the representative is, who you've been showing up as all of this time. So my job is to help women to get back to the core of who they are. And a part of that work really is going to have to take them back to childhood. As an adult, now you've been living the life of a representative. And the only way we can really get to the core of who you truly are, what it is that you truly like, what turns you off, what turns you on, what your passion is, what drives you, what motivates you, we got to go back to before the time the pretending actually began. And if we could do that, a part of that process is, you know, shucking away these layers that we've covered ourselves with all throughout these years, to protect ourselves, because that's what it really is. Mm-hmm. It's not that I've changed and conformed to be like this certain group because I didn't really like my true self, but it was really to protect my true self. Does that make sense? Protecting my true self, you know, I don't want anybody to hurt me or to abandon me or to reject me the way that my dad did. So I cover myself with these layers all throughout adolescent years, my teenage years, young adult years, and even into my adult life. And so pulling back the layers helps you to get to the core of who you truly are. Once you can do that, then you can stand firm in, okay, this is what I want, this is what is a deal breaker, this is what is acceptable in my relationship with my husband, with my boyfriend, with the guy I'm dating, with my mother, with my father, with my siblings, you know, with my employer, with my employees, anybody who I have any type of relationship with. I first have to do the work on me. And that's the crazy thing. When people come in and they want to change their relationships, they want to know how to fix the other person. But we don't have any control in fixing the other person. The control is really about how do we fix ourselves. We fix ourselves by doing the work. A lot of us don't want to do the work because the work is uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good. Nobody wakes up in the morning and say, oh, I think I want to hurt today. Oh, I think I want to be in pain today. Nobody does that. Mm-hmm. So it takes a great level of courage to do this type of work, to really find our true, authentic, genuine selves. The real me that lives within. The real me that is hidden behind these layers of protection, these defense mechanisms that I have to protect myself. Mm-hmm. The true authentic me lives beneath the rubbish or the remnants of the experiences that I've had throughout my life.